Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing wonderful. My name is Kamalneet Singh. I'm a teenage coach, and it's my honor and privilege to be bringing this episode forward to you for everyone. And it's a very very special episode today. You know that we are doing this series of episodes called Success Principles by Successful Principles, and one of the ideas to do this is because a lot of wisdom, a lot of insights, a lot of knowledge, a lot of ideas are available with the heads of schools, with the school leaders, and they are available to their parents. But given the current situation we are in, the world is going through a very, very tough time. And as we hear from parents, as we hear from teachers, as we hear from kids, it's a difficult time. It's a time wherein kids are also going through a lot of things. Their whole routines have changed. They would go out and play in the grounds. That's not happening. They're pretty much limited to their four walls. Now, and even for parents, it's a tough time. Somebody's going through a salary cut. Somebody is going through their own challenges maybe, and given their own, and both of them, the child and the parent, both of them are right in their own ways because both of them are going through something or the other. Now, given their own situation, they're struggling with each other, not because there is anything wrong in between, but because the situation is as such that they're struggling with something or the other. So we thought, why not we bring the best of the minds in the world? And I'm very, very happy and excited because we have somebody who's very, very special and somebody who holds loads and loads and loads of experience. We have Mr. Ashok Pandey with us. Thank you very much for your time. Now he's somebody who sits on decades of experience. He's somebody who is the director for Ahlcon Group of Schools, Delhi, India, a chairperson for Council for Global Citizenship Council, somebody who I've known for a while now, and somebody who is a pioneer in a lot of initiatives which are being taken in the country in terms of education. Now, to give you a little brief, he comes from a background wherein he did his physics, post graduation in physics from Allahabad University, and then he did consultancy management from BITS Pilani. And he went on to lead schools and made a huge difference in the space of education. Now, not only that, he went beyond the regular work, and he's a prolific speaker, a trainer, a facilitator, a researcher, and an author. And the title is brilliant. It's called Launching Your Inspiring Principal Leadership. And if you look at it, the title is brilliant, and yet at the same time, it is loved by educators all around, decorated with a lot of awards, and a lot of achievements. In fact, it is an honor for me to have somebody who has been listed by Forbes India in the 2020 edition as one of the 100 top people managers. Now, he's somebody who led the principal delegations from India to the University of Rice, the USA, yes, and has been the only school leader who represented the India Australian leadership dialogue, if I'm correct on that one. Somebody who moves around and facilitates and takes up various assignments. I understand that you're sitting on the governing body of National Council for Teacher Education and CBSE, apart from many many other assignments. And it's my honor and privilege to have Mr. Ashok Pandey with us. And I can tell you, especially a parent who is watching this, especially a teacher, an educator, anybody, in fact, even a student who is watching this, I can tell you that you are in for a treat because the wisdom that's going to come forward. I understand that more than 3 decades of experience, absolutely, and has traveled to more than 20 odd countries, and all of that, all the feathers under one hat, and you get to hear the best of all with us today. Really looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I was going through your whole profile, and you're somebody who would really want to bring joy to the learning process.
Yes.
And we are talking about wherein how can we have parents who can do things consciously, wherein it will really make an impact to their kids' life. Because आप कितने भी parents से बात करो, what you have tons of experience, way more than I have. What do you think? What is it that makes a child successful in the real life? Beyond the school.
I must tell you one thing right in the beginning. I mean, this journey of being a teacher has been absolutely amazing, let me tell you. You see, and I thank from the core of my heart, My teachers, and some of them fortunately are alive and I'm in touch with them, and the kind of difference that they made in my life, and my students. You see, I mean, 30 odd years, and every student has taught me something, and they did not know it. And I think it will be very instructive for the viewers of this program, that my National Teacher Award, which I got in 2012, I dedicated it to two people. One, my teacher, who himself was a national awardee. And second, my first batch of class 10 students, 1985.
Oh, wow.
Because, they were young, they were first generation learners, and I was a first generation teacher.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And
So
they
same page in terms of the learning space.
Absolutely. And they, till today, they thank me for being a good teacher to them. But I tell them that, guys, you don't know it. You made me a good teacher, if at all I am, because you accepted my mistakes. You accepted me what I was. I was fresh from the university. My passion was different. I was in a different world. You made me. You took the teacher out of me amongst you.
I think that's so humble of you.
No, it's truth.
I see that in the light that you see it from an angle wherein the glass is never full. While you were teaching, because for a student,
I know as a person what were my limitations. I knew I was preparing my lessons. I knew their answers and responses were making me better every day. How can I forget it, right? And then later on, of course, my colleagues, the principals with whom I worked, they contributed a lot. Then parents, I mean, the parents also brought a lot of wisdom to me as a teacher, and then I became a school leader. So I think it has been a journey for which I am indebted to a whole lot of people, And I think the whole life is about that one. That if you make everybody around you your mentor, and you learn something from them, and you be grateful to them, I think you may be successful, may not be successful, but you will have great fulfillment.
And they say that there's nothing in comparison to fulfillment.
Absolutely. And that is why my answer to your first question is that more than looking at success, we should look at fulfillment.
Brilliant.
Because at the end of our lives, all of us have to answer this question. Okay? Did I, the question is from us only, nobody else is asking that.
Correct.
Did I live a fulfilled life? Wow. You see? So I think parents, I have great respect for them. Any parent, for their children, I think they will wish them well, isn't it?
Very true. Very true.
And wish them well in these two areas, as you said, that they want them to success, which means cognitive success.
True.
Do well in exams and get good admission in a college,
Correct.
good job, and then they will feel that, oh, my son and daughter, now there is no problem and I can have my nice retired life, right? This is what a parent would want.
I think the typical definition.
Typical definition. And the second thing is that they also want them to be good human beings. But there is a problem. The first thing, that they want them to succeed, there is very little that they can do. They can't teach them physics and chemistry, right?
True.
Except when they are themselves physics and chemistry teachers.
True.
But the rest of the things somebody else has to teach them. So they have to depend on their school, they have to depend on the teachers, and all that. But one thing that they can do is to ensure that they become good human beings. I think that is where there is some gap, in my opinion. That they want being a good human being is very, very important.
Correct.
But there is no investment in making the children good human beings. Not because of any ill intention.
Correct.
Not because of a grave mistake they are making. It is only that they think a good human being he or she will be. It's not a big deal.
Correct. So that's an assumption that they
That's an assumption.
Which is a tough one. That's not happening without
it's a wrong assumption.
effort. Yeah.
It's the wrong assumption. It doesn't happen.
Right.
Being a good human being is being in constant touch with good human beings.
That's a brilliant one. So being a good human being
is being in constant touch with good human beings. Right?
Yeah.
So we have to create the entire ecosystem of goodness around them.
True.
And that goodness will come first from the parents.
Correct.
And the parents have to share their own stories.
True.
Unfortunately, that is not happening in the families.
That's a brilliant point. I think
You see?
what you're saying is that they got to be vulnerable about
Yes,
their
they have
background.
a lot of stories, their own successes, their own definitions of success,
And even failures.
and then failures.
Correct.
So their failures stories, how did they cope up with that?
True.
You know, I mean, what came to their rescue?
Correct.
Whose help they did? Who helped them?
Correct.
Who mentored them?
Correct.
What were their coping skills?
Correct.
I think this itself will tell us, first of all, we will, as a young child, they will learn from the mistakes of their parents.
True.
They will not have to commit the same mistake.
Same mistakes.
I mean, there is a saying that it is the fools who make mistake and learn.
Very true.
The wise ones, they learn from the mistake
Very
of others.
Very true. In fact, I heard, I don't know who said this, but somebody said that, you will not live long enough to make all the mistakes,
By yourself. And then learn it.
So learn from somebody.
Make it fast, put it into the fast track.
Correct.
So, coming to the definition, I think the fulfilled life, of course, do well for yourself. I tell my children, and I'm telling you the same thing today. I want my every child to be healthy, wealthy, and prosperous.
Brilliant.
I'm not a hypocrite, right? Let them be healthy, wealthy, and prosperous.
That's brilliant.
Once you have achieved it,
Correct.
or even while you are achieving it, do not lose sight of somebody who is not healthy, wealthy, and prosperous.
That's a great thought.
You see? So what happens is, then a parallel commentary is going on in your mind, in your personality, in your actions, in your thoughts. You see? And therefore, you start devoting and investing a part of you for the society. Right? So I think this is the inculcation that we have to bring in the children.
That's brilliant. So what you are saying is that the way I understand is that while you are on your way
Yes,
to success,
absolutely,
the way you define it, healthy, wealthy, and prosperous,
Yeah.
Let's not miss out on the fact that there are others
Yeah.
who are aiming to be on the same journey. What can you
Yeah.
do for them?
Yes,
So hold them together.
absolutely,
And,
absolutely. And that is why I always give the example of the young children, the tiny tots.
Correct.
The two things that the tiny tots, they don't learn, they demonstrate it. And what is that? Sharing and caring.
Yeah. Very true.
Right?
Very true.
So sharing and caring for them comes naturally.
True. Very true.
But somehow along the journey, they miss it out.
Very true.
Now, who is responsible for that? So let me not single it out, but let us say the ecosystem is responsible for that. Right?
Correct.
So sharing and caring, if it continues throughout the life, I think there will be no problem.
True. True.
So that is why the young children, you see, have you seen the children when they get down from the buses?
Yes.
They all hold each other.
Correct.
And make
Correct.
a line,
Correct. Correct.
And even a strong person like you,
Correct.
you will have to apply a lot of energy to break that chain.
Correct.
Because they're so, tightly holding each other.
Correct.
That
Correct.
tight holding
Correct.
is not physical,
Correct.
it is emotional.
Brilliant.
See, emotionally, you are not able to untie them.
Correct.
Physically, you can.
Correct. They're
Right?
so tied up with
They're
each
so
other.
tied up with it. So that caring, that belongingness,
Correct.
I think this is what we have to build up. The second thing is that they have a lot of curiosity. And then that also we try and snap as they grow.
Correct.
Right? The third is their ability to ask questions, innocent questions, without any fear, without any hesitation,
True.
without the fear of being ridiculed.
True. True.
Right?
True.
But as they grow, we start taking pride in the fact that my child is very quiet, he's very disciplined,
Correct.
he does not talk unnecessarily. So when we show or demonstrate through our gestures that these are the things that I'm going to like,
Correct.
the children start going inwards.
Very true. Very true.
So if they don't ask you, either they are not asking that and they are suppressing the desire to know the answer, or at one point of time when they become a little more resourceful,
Right.
they will go to the wrong sources to get the answer.
Very true. Very true. In fact, the way you say that, something happens wherein they start going inward. I remember going to a marriage function, and then
Yeah.
there's this mother who says, कि ये इतने सवाल पूछता है, he
Yeah.
ends up asking so many questions, and
Yeah.
she's saying it right in front of the child.
Just imagine.
And imagine that child is looking that my mother is telling to somebody that I speak a lot, which means I should not
I
be
should
speaking.
not. I
And
should
then,
not. Yeah.
like, what would you expect out of him? True.
So this is, so sharing, caring, curiosity, asking questions, I mean, these are the childlike qualities. And when I say childlike,
Right.
then I am also trying to tell you that these are the divine qualities. You see? So because between their birth and coming to school in 3 years, 4 years,
Correct.
I mean, the divinity has elapsed only by 3 years.
Very true.
Right?
Very true. That's a nice way to put it. Exactly.
And in 3 years they come,
Correct.
and still a couple of years they continue it,
Correct.
and then the pressure of syllabus, the examination, race, whether they will come first or second.
Correct.
I mean, all those ecosystemic
Correct.
challenges,
Correct.
it hits us all very hard.
Correct. True.
And then that is how the journey goes. So therefore, let me confine to this. We have to understand what success is, right?
Correct.
And we have to understand what are the qualities which made parents and teachers laugh and be happy at.
Yeah.
And why when they turn 10 and 15 and 18,
Right.
we are not happy with the same qualities. Just imagine.
That's a thought to really deeply ponder. I think parents would, when they listen to the whole thing, I'm sure they will. It gives them a reflection, an introspection point to look at.
I asked this question to a group of parents when I was addressing them.
Right.
And I gave them a thought experiment.
Right.
That let's have a thought experiment. And thought experiment is close your eyes and imagine that your child is 25 years old today and he is receiving an award at the world stage.
Wow.
And he has to give his acceptance speech. Right. Now, he or she, they come on the stage, hold the mic, and they are going to say something. I'm sure they will talk about parents also. They will talk about their teachers, the people, God, and all that. Now, please imagine, I'm giving you 2 minutes time to think that what would you like to listen to from your children at 25, at world stage, about you?
Wow, that's quite an experiment. In fact, I'll probably intervene and make a request out to the viewers, the parents, and anybody who's doing this. While this is a conversation happening, I would in fact say that take out 120 seconds, take out 2 minutes, and actually visualize that what words are coming out from your child's mouth about you. And I think that we have a huge message coming out of this.
And they are successful by your own definition.
Very true. Very true. Correct.
So they are on the world stage.
Correct.
They have received an award which you wanted.
Correct.
So what would you like to hear from them?
That's something. That's a deep one. That's a very deep one to reflect.
So some of the parents were courageous enough, and they came forward, and the narrative was that everybody wanted their children to tell about themselves that my parents helped me, my parents taught me values, my parents stood by me when nobody else stood, my parents believed in me when everybody was losing faith in me. Right? My parents listened to me when I wanted them to listen to me. I think these are the things that you would like to, your ears will be tuned for that.
I'm experiencing something myself sitting here, and I would rather say to all the viewers that this is not just a conversation. What just happened in the last couple of minutes, I would really would make a bold request that go through this experience, because as the conversation was flowing, I myself jumped into that experience, and there were beautiful words that came out that, what is it that you would want to listen to, that, my parents helped me, my parents listened to me when nobody was listening, when there was nobody who was taking a stand for me. My parents took a stand. Now, whatever is being communicated, I think they'll have to reflect back and see that is that happening in your current actions.
Exactly. So that is the conclusion which you said just now.
Correct.
That if this is what you want to listen to after 25 years,
correct,
are you doing it today?
Brilliant.
So just reflect on this.
That's a very powerful point.
And then start doing it if you're not doing it.
Correct.
If you're doing it half-heartedly, make it intentional.
Correct.
Right? If you have experienced that your child is 10 years old today,
Correct.
and you did it up to 5 years, and for last 5 years you have not done it, start doing it again. Jump into it again.
Correct.
And that is your investment.
Correct. They say that the best time was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The second best time is now.
No.
And the journey of 1,000 miles
Yeah.
starts with a single step.
Yeah.
So I would want to make it into an analogy
Yeah.
where in 25 years from now, can be those 1,000 steps.
Yes.
Are we taking
it or not? Exactly.
I think that's a
right?
brilliant way.
So this is one thing. The second thing, which I'm very, very passionate about, that you see, I mean, nobody is going to question or doubt, even for a moment, that children belong to their parents, right? So you have your sole
Correct.
custodianship, authority, legal, biological, everything.
Correct.
Fine.
Correct.
Given. I mean, who is going to question that?
Correct.
Right? But do you think for a moment that both you and your children are part of this cosmos? We belong to this universe. Okay? We don't belong to a mohalla, na?
Correct.
Huh? We are not into Jagriti Enclave or Dayanand Vihar or something like that, right?
Correct.
So you just take it at a macro level.
Correct.
You belong to the universe. You know, Mahatma Gandhi said beautifully that every person is so much an integral to the universe
Correct.
that when they die, they take the entire universe with them.
Wow, that's profound and
Mahatma Gandhi, right? So you are part of the universe. Now, if you are part of the universe, then you have to embrace the universe. Right? Now, embracing universe means, you know, the problems of the world. What are the solutions? You know, the diversity, inclusion, the injustice, lack of peace, you know, people suffering. I think you should be sensitive to all those.
True.
Then only you will embrace it.
True.
If you are happy with you and you think that your boundaries are taken care of and what is happening beyond your boundary, then you are not citizen of the world.
Very true. Very
right?
True. Very true.
And therefore, the parents must prepare their children also to play the role as a world citizen.
That's a very I think that's a very concentrated thought. If they
Yes.
get it,
Yes,
and they develop a mindset that they are a part of the whole
world.
universe.
They are going to make a difference in the world.
Very true.
You know, I'll tell you an anecdote. A class 12 student of mine got into a medical college, top medical college in the world.
Right.
And his father came to me for Thanksgiving with son, and both of them were sitting next to me. I congratulated them and all the pleasantries and all that. They had brought sweets, so we shared sweets also. And then I started wishing him luck for his future and all that. I had not planned it, Kamal, let me tell you, but somehow it just came out of me. And I told the father that, look, I'm very happy. I've always been very proud of him. I knew he will do well in life. But there is a problem.
Okay.
And the problem is that he's going to become a doctor. And once he completes his medical education, he will go for his PG or some other internship. He might go abroad, wherever he goes. He will be doctor for the humanity. Right? And you will start losing your full quota of authority on him.
Control.
Yeah. My son, my son.
My son.
He will be known more as a cardiac surgeon or orthopedics or whatever specialization he takes, neurosurgeon.
Correct.
I mean, and your pride will come then, right?
My son is serving the society.
Society, you know. So start preparing yourself for that, you know. So you have invested in him, you know, everything is fine, but look at him as the society's angel or evangelist or whatever it is. You know?
And then being a part of one universe.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Absolutely. So this is the kind of message that I would like to give in response to what you asked.
That's brilliant. In fact, when you put this whole idea of that, the way I see it is that let's not be individualistic.
Yes.
Let's look at it from a grand perspective wherein
Absolutely.
we are one with universe. In fact, I don't know which book, I read it in a book that the word universe is split it into two, which is uni means one, verse means song. So it's one song.
One song.
So if you are one with the whole universe,
Yeah.
your way of looking at life will be, very, very different.
Very different.
It's like that whole spider web. You touch one end of it,
Yeah.
and then the whole vibrates.
Yes, yes.
And if you think that, and I think it's so, it just strikes me that based on what you said, so what you're sharing is that, even what you do, even what you say to people around you, it's going to impact them in a positive way or a negative way.
Yeah.
So if you connect, look at it from that perspective,
Yeah.
that whatever they do, whatever they say, is going to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Either ways.
Either
so
ways.
they choose to rather have a mindset that my actions and my words should have a
Absolutely.
positive impact on people around me.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
If I was in any other profession, let me tell you, I would have been miserable because I know my limitations. The company of children, if you enjoy it, then only you should be there. This is number one. Number two, you enjoy it and you got the company of the children, then your life is already on a righteous path. When you are given a responsibility to make a difference in somebody's life, I think it is a huge responsibility. In other professions, you make a difference by default, by design, I'm sorry. But in children's life, it is your default operating system.
Correct.
What else you do with the children? You see? So you take them from, the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge. So you're just doing a paradigm shift for them, which is a transformation.
It is.
You see?
It's a full-blown transformation.
You're taking them out of their anxieties and traumas and bad experiences. Again, this is the second transition that you're bringing. The third thing is that out of their morose and melancholy, the childhood problems, the growing up problems, you are bringing them to excitement. You're bringing in hope in them. You're connecting them with the future. All these are transformative things.
These are.
So a teacher can only do this, but a conscientious teacher, you have to prepare yourself. You can do it automatically also, as I said, by default you can do it, right? But that may not be as efficacious as it should be. It may not be a scaled up efficacy. You can do it with few children. You cannot do it at a scale. It could be very transitory in nature, You can do it for some time and then you may not be able to do it. But if you want to make it consistent, if you want to scale it up, and you want to do it generation after generation, then you have to invest in yourself. So investing in yourself is where you make a difference to yourself. And your purpose is also very well defined. That if I do not know how to teach in the class, if I do not know how to respond to the queries of the children, I do not know how to read the face and find out what is going on inside the child's mind. And if you do not take a plunge into those areas which are not directly under your control, what happens is that most of the time, most of the teachers and the brilliant ones, they do their brilliancies exhibition only in the areas which is under their direct control.
Their expertise.
So their expertise, their domain, the classroom and all that. But those who go beyond, then they will start reading the faces of the children. If a child is coming in the morning with gloomy face, you will know what has happened. So you have to put your hand at the back of the child. Come on. You may not ask him or her directly at that time, but your hand's warmth has sent a signal that this person is going to be of some help.
Somebody is there.
Somebody is there. Right? So a child is coming late. Let us say, for example, a child is coming late. You can say, how do I worry about it? But his or her late coming may have a whole lot of story behind it. You see? So that is something. There are many things which the children might feel, teachers might feel that the children have gone home How am I concerned? Now they are with the parents.
Correct.
But if you step into that and you can develop the relationship and find out what is going on in the child's house also, I mean, without intruding or something like that, probably you can transform families. And particularly in these times when families are under so much of stress, there are family discords. The children are the victims of what is happening in the families.
Correct.
You see, I think somebody has to step. For that, you have to take a very, very clear mindedness within yourself, your own capacity building,
Correct.
and then invest in your time, value, and energy.
And
Not necessarily money.
Get that.
If you can afford, do that also.
Correct.
At whatever stage in your life you can do it.
Correct.
But time, value, and energy. These are the three things
Correct.
you have in abundance.
Correct.
And more you give, more you will regenerate it. It is a recycling process.
Correct. I think it's the law of universe. The more
Yes.
you get, the more you
Yeah.
give, the more you get.
Yes.
And
So if you have been able to handle one child
right.
and you have given your values and energy,
Correct.
I think you are rejuvenated
True.
to share it with two more children.
True. Brilliant.
Right?
In fact,
So this thought process came very early in my life, and I told you that the children who came to me for the first time, they were all first generation learners.
correct. The 10th graders.
So the 10th graders, they came to me in 7th or 8th.
Right.
In 2-3 years time, they
Correct.
reached class 10.
Correct.
I think they told me actually without taking my class
Correct.
that what education is all about.
Correct.
What is the role of the teacher?
Correct.
Opportunities itself, more than resources,
Correct.
are the primary cause of people's success and failure.
I think we have a mantra hidden in there.
Yeah, so that's the mantra,
Correct.
So when we started rifle shooting here, for example,
Right.
and the first year, our child, she got gold medal in Delhi shooting championship. Now, how I look at it is that she had some inner potential of concentration and firing and all that.
True.
But if I did not have rifle shooting facility here,
She
she would not have earned the gold medal.
Very true. Very
So
true.
that gives me example and confidence that opportunities should be given.
True.
So whatever opportunities are there, that should not be denied to the children.
If there is no, what do you call it? There is no land which is being nurtured.
Yeah.
How do you expect?
How will you expect
you-
something to
Correct.
fructify?
I think so. There's a lot of exposure that we see is being given, and I'm very
Absolutely.
and it's very fortunate for the parents who are who have their kids in this able leadership, in this capable leadership, wherein they're getting a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
So that's that. So parents are listening, and then parents really want to make, as we started in the discussion earlier, but they really would want their kids to be successful, and then you give a very different dimension to the word success. So what is your key message, in fact a couple of them, to the parents? Because in their heart and soul, and a lot of times you speak to parents, and I speak to fathers and mothers, and they say, whatever we are doing, we are doing it fine, we are doing something for ourselves, but the moment we look at the long shot, in their heart they say that, and verbally also, that we really want them, we really want to do something for them, and we really want them to really become something, right? So what is your message, some key messages for parents?
So message number one is that please do not lose your sleep over what your child will do. Don't lose your sleep, because the moment you start losing sleep, even biologically also, you get irritated. Right?
It's to stress.
So literally also and biologically. But what does it mean in real practical terms?
Correct.
In real practical terms, it means that do not attach your aspiration as a benchmark of your child doing well or not well.
It's a very profound point. It means do not attach your dream to...
So you are attaching it. So say for example, you decided that my child should become a doctor.
Correct.
Now if your child does not become a doctor, then you think that he is a failure and therefore I am a failure. So you are attached. Instead of that, the minimum that you can do is that, do you have a plan B? That no, fine. After all, he has to be a good human being. He has to serve the society. If he cannot serve as a doctor, can he serve as somebody else? So bring in that flexibility. This is number one. Number two, ask your child also.
So I'll probably stop you here, and I'll interfere. Reason being because I picked up something which is very powerful, and I would want the parents to get it. What I picked up in the conversation is that do not have a particular goal of a profession as an outcome.
Yeah.
And if you can look at, because that's what I picked up, and I thought they should. It is a great message coming out from you. If the outcome is a good human being, if that's the destination,
serving the society,
and being a good human being, then no matter whatever path you take, leads to
you have to excel in that area. No? I mean, you see, the question is that I want to be somebody,
right,
or I want to make a difference.
Yes.
Okay.
Different dimensions.
So if you can make a difference, then there are many pathways to it. No?
Correct.
So choose any pathway which circumstances allow, your talent allows, if you believe in luck allows, your efforts allow. I mean, let us put them all together.
Correct.
But no attachment to one particular goal. So that is one thing which...
That's a very powerful message for all the parents.
So that is, since I have seen parents and I know how much they struggle that my child did not get this, the child did not get that. And the second message I already gave in the last segments, but I'm just repeating it, that your child is citizen of the world. So don't impose anything on it. As it is in 21st century, there is no way adults can impose anything on their children. So the best thing is accept it gracefully, rather than creating tension points or controversies or relationship problems, right? So, but at the same time, I'm not saying that you don't play your role. So how do you play your role? So the category of parents, one category of parents, they will give anything and everything to the children, which I call giving them only love and no direction. And the second category of parents, you give them a lot of directions and discipline, and your whole authority is put into practice, and absolute absence of love for them. That is also equally bad. And therefore, as a parent, you have to give them love, your emotions, your values. But at the same time, a moderation in your expectations. So this judicious balance between your expectations of discipline and guidance and your love. I think the challenge for the parents is to maintain that balance.
That's crucial. So
because sometimes you go in the extremes. In fact, you go in the extremes at different stages in life.
Correct.
So when they are very younger, all love.
True. I'm all for you.
And for another 5-6 years, you just abhi to bacha hai.
Correct.
So love is reducing.
Correct.
And the guidance is also reducing.
Correct.
And suddenly when they grow to 15, 16,
correct,
and the teen is added to them at 13,
correct,
and suddenly you realize, he or she is not listening to me, she has become very independent, she only listens to her peer group.
correct.
But 10 years before that, what did you do? You did not invest in that. Right? So that mix of love and discipline, as we call it, that is the ideal situation for the parents.
Which is a very
very,
very crucial balance we are looking at.
So that you have to do.
Correct.
And then I think the moment they have become 14, 15 years, correct, what we have seen, it may be 15 for some, it may be 14 for some, I think some kind of respectful relationship should come. I will tell you one incident that there was a huge relationship problem between a mother and a child, and child would just not listen, this and that. Anyway, and they came to me and with all the hope and expectation that I have some panacea and immediately I'll prescribe a medicine and everything will be fine, so I was also under a bit of a pressure. And then I talked to the mother. After picking up certain things from her, that how she is reacting or responding to the child's actions or reactions or whatever. And then I suddenly realized that there is a lack of acceptance for certain things from the child. And certainly there is a lack of respect for the child. Because the child also has his or her own space.
True.
Because all of us have what we call a psychological circle around us. And we feel very, very discomfort when somebody tries to intrude into it. Permeation is fine,
right,
but penetration and intrusion is not fine.
I think that's a key distinction.
You see?
So permeation, I think that's
it's
a message
fine.
I would want if you can repeat for them. Permeation, you said, is
It's
fine.
Yeah. And we have to help the child to create the psychological field, which is due to the experiences and relationship, is permeable.
Correct.
It is not one-way traffic, okay? Correct. That only they can go.
Correct.
And nobody else can come.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So this is what I realized.
Correct.
And then I mean, I don't know how it came to my mind. Right. Later on, I examined myself whether I was right or wrong. I said, look, tell me one thing very honest. That if the same things are done by a child, son or daughter,
correct,
who has come to stay with you for 2 months, correct, and fortunately or unfortunately, that son and daughter is of your boss. She was a working lady. So if your boss's son comes to your family to stay for 2 months, correct, will you object in the same manner for the same things?
That's a profound inquiry that you raised.
So why will you act differently with that? After all, that is also a child only. If it is a child's problem, correct, then why do you hesitate? It means there is one reason,
correct,
and there is one moral dilemma that will come to you.
Correct.
Ki your brother's son, correct, or your sister's son, correct, your boss's son,
correct,
then you will act differently. So the lesson out of it is that we have to constantly, examine our own actions. Not only that, we have the authority to examine the actions of our children. That is a relationship building exercise, and we can win the faith and confidence of the kids. Right?
I think I'll go back to your profound question. That you did raise sometime back, wherein in the whole examination process, if the parent can ask himself,
yes,
or herself, that am I on the right track?
Yes, exactly.
Instead of raising fingers,
exactly,
to examine if I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
And I think if we are open enough to let it come from the child,
yes,
and take it gracefully, because I think taking it gracefully.
You see, I'll tell you something. I think this example will be very instructive for the viewers, particularly parents. A child left his house without telling the parents and did not respond to the parents for a good 10 to 12 hours. Okay. You can imagine.
They were trying to reach.
And did not respond, and they were trying to reach,
right,
and this and that, and the parents were worried. They called in the school that you help the teachers.
Correct.
Can you reach out and this and that? We tried to find out anyway. So the message that I wanted to share with you is that when the child came next day, and then he was brought to me, and I said, the rest of you go, I want to talk to him alone. And I talked to him and I said, fine, why did you not tell your mother where you are? You should say that I'm safe, I'll come late and all. You know what he told me? I had mobile with me and she has snatched the mobile. And she thinks that I should not carry mobile with me. Then how does she expect that I will give her a call when I cannot even carry a mobile? See?
That's
the equation. This is the equation. Yeah. You see? That okay, you have taken my mobile,
right,
and I'm going to cause you pain. Correct. I will not call you back.
Correct. I don't have one to call you back
because you took it. So, I mean, these are all typical cases and case studies. Correct. I told him still that, look, you did not call because you wanted your mother to suffer pain, or you genuinely could not call because you had no phone.
Correct.
And then he was in a dilemma because he deliberately caused pain to his mother.
Because you pinpointed the right.
Yeah. Because I said that if you did not have phone, you were with your friend, your friend's phone you would have used.
Correct.
And you would have called your mother that I'll be late and something like that. You did not do it. So anyway, I counseled him. He realized his mistake. That's the rest of the story. Right. But the message that I wanted to give, that when we go to these precipitating levels of actions and reactions and chain reactions, then these are the things that we should give pauses and reflect that this action, how it is going to pan out in the long run.
And in fact, fortunately, the boy came back.
Yeah.
But as you see on ground level, the case is
Yeah.
there are people which have, probably, students
Yeah.
who would run away, or not maybe literally, but metaphorically, they have created a distance from you.
Yeah.
While probably you're living in the same house, but metaphorically in their head there is a distance,
Distance, yeah.
and they would not want to come back. And if that happens in a physical domain wherein they
Yeah.
actually go away,
Yeah.
and they would not come back, I think eventually it's a very, very painful experience. But I think the key message
Yeah.
that I see is that it was not an outside in approach, it was more triggered,
Yeah.
I think, from the inside out. So the parent could have been a little more careful
Yes.
in terms of
Absolutely.
their conversation, that would have been much, much better.
We are living in times which are very bewildered, absolute bewilderment. And all old stories have collapsed. And no new stories have come. Then how do we deal with the situation?
Correct.
You see? So that is the bewilderment.
Correct. No past reference, and there's nothing new to act upon.
Yeah. So the question is, and who is suffering because of this? I think children are the greatest sufferers. They don't realize it.
True.
But this bewilderment,
Correct.
makes them very, very insecure. So that is why we have to handle them with a little more care.
True.
Excuse me.
You gave an example of a teenager, and then a situation happened. If now, assuming a platform wherein you have a lot of kids also watching you, maybe a message or two directly to the kids, what would that be?
I'll tell you,
because they would see you as somebody.
I'm talking of the kids, and when you say kids, let me assume they are up to the age of 15 and 16.
Fair enough.
Now, these kids today, of 20 years before,
correct,
or 40 years before, correct, or 60 years before, they're totally different.
Very true.
Totally different.
True.
And what is the difference? The first difference is that these kids, I call them, for the last 30 years that narration is going on, but these kids, correct, are first-rate digital natives. True. First-rate. True. So their first language is not English, Hindi, or Punjabi. The first language is technology.
Very true.
This is number one.
Correct.
Now, technology has given them a lot of empowerment. True. That's number one. Just park it for a second. Correct. The second is that they can communicate very well. Correct. The third is their greatest influencers in life are their own peer group. Correct. And the people about whom they only have the message through the technology. They do not have a real life experience. True. Okay? True. So these are 2 or 3 differences. Correct.
So we are looking at technology, we are looking at communication,
and
a perception,
and their role models. And their role models.
Correct.
Who are their role models?
Correct.
And how much they know about them.
Correct.
What part of those role models influences them?
Correct.
The glamour, the money, the wealth, the cars.
Correct.
You see? Correct. So those are the
shiny objects,
ingredients of that role model.
Correct.
So these are the 2 or 3 things. And the fortunate thing is, and very good thing is, that all the children of this age group, across communities, when I'm talking of communities, nationalities, they think alike. So a tribe of a homogeneous group of youngsters is expanding across the world.
Looking at global,
Global
youth.
Yes. So they make a country unto themselves. A country of this generation with this homogeneous quality, perception, thought. So they are not prepared to listen to injustice. They can raise their voice. They have appetite for risk. True. So these are the characteristics of this particular group.
Correct.
But at the same time, they have some dilemmas also. Correct. Because the cultural, the family roots, and other aspirations. Correct. So that dilemma, what do they do in that dilemma? In that dilemma, can they go to the adults? Fine, go to the adults, but there is a danger that adults, whether they have their timeless wisdom, correct, or they have outdated biases.
Correct.
So that correct dilemma is there.
Correct.
The second is, should they go to technology and make that as a tool for them?
Correct.
Fine enough, but there is a danger that technology can enslave them. Already it has enslaved correct a lot of them. Correct. So how to make the mindful and transformative use of technology? Correct. That is they have to do. Can they look up to themselves that no, I'm empowered and I can take care of myself? That is also slightly dicey.
Correct.
Because you have not experienced anything. You do not have the power to predict. You do not have power to judge or whatever it is. So all these three possible sources of your mentoring, they have both pluses and minuses. And therefore, the only thing that can come to their rescue in this situation is the same thing which I told you some time ago, that we have to teach our children to know themselves, who they are, what is the purpose they have in life, what do they want to do, and what will give them happiness and fulfillment. So that should become part of our curriculum and pedagogy. And therefore, I will suggest to them to do 4 things. Right? Number 1, develop your gross qualification. I call it gross qualification. So you are BTech or MBBS, this is your gross qualification. Do it because your parents want it and this and that. It's very important. Once you have done this, you be a good communicator. Be a good team member. Isn't it? Be helpful. Be kind. I call them, soft skills.
Soft skills. Perfect.
Right? You have to have soft skills.
Correct.
After that, the third skill comes. And as you grow, you have to develop it. And you know what is? The gross qualities and some of the softer skills, you and I can see in anybody. We can see them.
Yeah, correct. Visible.
It's visible.
Visible.
But there are certain things which are not visible.
Below the surface.
Below the surface. So do you have empathy for people? That is within you.
Correct.
How do you feel about somebody's pain and suffering? Cognitively and emotionally. And then what action you take. That is empathy. True. Isn't it? True. Do you have something which is bothering you in your mind that this is the problem of the society, and with all my empowerment and capacity I'll find a problem? That is inside you. Nobody knows it.
Correct.
Right? This I called subtle skills.
Correct.
Subtle.
Invisible, yet very, very
Invisible, powerful. It's very subtle.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Now you see the gross,
correct,
the soft, and the subtle.
Correct.
These all are within you.
Correct.
For you.
Correct.
And you have become a first-rate person. Everybody will like you, love you, and this and that.
Correct.
But what is the outcome of it? Outcome of this is that you should be able to make a difference in somebody's life.
Exactly.
So you have to be transformative.
Correct.
Make transformations.
Correct.
So work on your gross qualities,
Correct.
soft skills,
Correct.
subtle qualities, and be a transformative change maker.
Brilliant.
That is what this generation has to do.
And
they have everything in them to achieve.
Awesome. In fact, to add to the mantra I got, this came as a back route.
Yes.
Another mantra. So gross qualification, they're looking at communication, which is above the surface, visible skills, and we're looking at the invisible ones.
Invisible ones.
Which is
what you are.
Correct.
Which is what you are. You can't act against what you are.
Very true. Very true. If you do not believe in helping, you can't. You will not, because the outcome, the actions will decide for it.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's a very, very profound learning. All the youth, all the students, all the teenagers, even the youngsters, whosoever is listening to this one, I think if we pick this at an early age, it is going to make a huge difference. And yet at the same time, if a parent can be conscious and aware of that this is what I'm looking at to be put into my child, by some conscious efforts, maybe. And I'll pick up an example from what you said, that if you see that somebody is struggling, and if the child sees the parent that my father or my mother, or in fact both of them, they go out of the way and help.
Yes,
I think it's going to be a percolation.
That is what will become a model for them.
Correct.
They will start modeling that behavior.
Correct. I think very, very profound answers, and really a very profound conversation.
Thank you very much.
I'm in the awe of
absolute honor.
So many learnings for me.
Totally delighted. Thank you very much.
And you went out of the way and actually gave much more than what I was looking, and really, really thankful to you for this.
I'm happy that you give me full marks for that.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Lovely
Thanks
speaking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And such a profound conversation for all of you. And I would rather say this, that if you listen to this, the more you listen to the conversation, and coming from key messages, uh, every time you listen to this one, I can promise you that there will be something new that opens up. And really thankful for the viewers also for taking out time and watching. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kamal. Thank you.